Hello friends, welcome back. This is the part 3 of answers to the most important questions which are generally asked in the viva of research project or dissertation. If you haven't watched part 1 and part 2, you can find the link of those videos in the description. You can click those links and watch the videos. So let us start part 3. The first question of part 3 is, what is regression? It is a statistical method generally used in finance, investing, and other disciplines that attempts to determine the strength and character of relationship between one dependent variable, which is usually denoted by y, and a series of other variables, which are also known as independent variables. In simplest terms, regression is used to determine the strength and character of relationship between dependent and independent variables. Next question is, what is correlation? Correlation is a statistical measure that expresses the extent to which two variables are linearly related. It means that they change together at a constant rate. It is a common tool for describing simple relationship without making a statement about cause and effect. In simplest term, you can say that correlation measures the strength of association between two variables and the direction of the relationship, whether it is negative correlation or positive correlation. Next question is types of correlation. In terms of strength of relationship, the value of correlation coefficient can vary between +1 and -1. A value of +-1 indicates a perfect degree of association between two variables, and as the correlation coefficient value goes towards 0, the relationship between the two variables will be weaker. And the direction of relationship is indicated by the sign of coefficient. A plus sign indicates a positive relationship and a negative sign indicates a negative relationship. Usually in statistics, we measure 4 types of correlation: Pearson correlation, candle rank correlation, Spearman correlation, and point biserial correlation. Next question is, what are the characteristics of a test or assessment? So there are 4 basic characteristics, which are validity, reliability, objectivity, and norms. Next question is, what is reliability and validity? So reliability and validity are concepts which are used to evaluate the quality of research. They indicate how well a method, technique, or test measuring something. Reliability is about the consistency of a measure, and validity is about the accuracy of a measure. Next question is, will a test which is reliable be valid or vice versa? To answer this question, a test cannot be valid unless it is reliable. An assessment can provide you with consistent results, making it reliable, but unless it measures what it is supposed to measure, it is not valid. However, a test can be reliable without being valid. Next question is, what is norms and how norms are developed? A norm is a standard or range of values that represents the typical performance of a group or an individual of a certain age, for example, against which comparisons can be made. It is also a conversion of a raw score into a scaled score that is more easily interpretable, such as a percentile or an IQ score. Or you can say it is a set of scalar data describing the performance of a larger number of people on that test. So test norms can be represented by 2 important statistics, that are means and standard deviation. And the most important measure in psychometrics is the arithmetical average or the mean. And this is intuitive for many people. For example, the average of 3 numbers 2, 4, 6 is 4, or the average of 1, 2, 3 is 2. Basically in psychometrics, this average is very important because it indicates the middle position in a distribution. Next question is, what is standard score? It is also called Z score. So Z score or standard score is a statistic that tells us where a score lies in a relation to the population mean. If you have a positive Z score, that means the score is above the mean, while negative Z score means that the score is below the mean. This clearly indicates that Z score tells us how far the score is from the mean, and it is very useful statistic because it allows us to compare two scores coming from two different distributions. Next question is, what is stenine and percentile? So we'll first talk about ST9 score. Actually, ST9 is short for standard 9, and a ST9 score ranges from a low of 1 to a high of 9. So therefore it has been given name ST9. For example, ST9 score of 1, 2 or 3 is below average, and 4, 5 or 6 is called average, and 7, 8, 9 is above average. Next is percentile score. So percentile scores allow you to compare one student's score with a group of students who took the same test. And in contrast to the ST9, percentile shows a score ranging from 1 to 99 and give parents a more detailed description of how their child compares with other students who took the test. For example, if a student scored in the 69th percentile on a test, the student achieved a score that is higher than 69% of the other students who took the same test. So if 100 students took the test, the student in the 69th percentile scored higher than 69 students. This does not refer to the percentage of correct answers. Next question is, what is ethics in research? This is very important to know the ethics before conducting any research. So research ethics provides you guidelines for the responsible conduct of research, and in addition it educates and monitors scientists conducting a research to ensure a high ethical standard. So there are some ethical principles like honesty, which means you have to honestly report data, results, methods and procedures, and publication status, and you do not need to fabricate or misinterpret data. Next principle is objectivity, means to avoiding bias in experimental design or data analysis or data interpretation. Next is integrity. Integrity is to keep your promises and agreements, act with sincerity, and strive for consistency of thought and action. Next principle is carefulness. This is important to avoid careless errors and negligence. Openness. Openness is to share data, results, ideas, and to being open to criticism and new ideas. Next is respect for intellectual property, which means you have to honor patents, copyrights, and other forms of intellectual property. Next is confidentiality. You have to protect confidential communications such as papers or grants submitted for publication, personal record, trade or military secrets, and patient records. Next is responsible publication, which means avoid wasteful and duplicative publication. Next is responsible mentoring, which is to help to educate, mentor, and advise students. Next is respect for colleagues. You have to respect your colleagues and treat them fairly. Social responsibility, which is to promote social good and prevent social harms through research, public education, and advocacy. Non-discrimination, to avoid discrimination against colleagues or students on the basis of sex, race, ethnicity, or other factors that are not related to their scientific competence and integrity. Next is competence, to maintain and improve your own professional competence and expertise through lifelong education and learning. Legality, to know and obey relevant laws and institutional and governmental policies. Animal care, this is also very important. This is to show proper respect and care for animals when using them in research, and do not conduct unnecessarily or poorly designed animal experiments. And next is human subject protection. When conducting a research on human subjects, you have to take care that you minimize harms and risk and maximize benefits, and you also respect human dignity, privacy, and autonomy. The last question is, differentiate between references and bibliography. References basically include sources that have been directly cited in your paper. For each source, you will have at least one in-text citation in the body of your paper, and the citation styles that use reference list include APA citation, AMA citation, and MLA citations. And bibliography, on the other hand, contain all the sources that you have used for your paper, whether they are directly cited or not. In a bibliography, you should include all of the materials you consulted in preparing your paper. Generally, Chicago citations and Oxford citations are two citation style that use bibliographies. This is important to note that both reference lists and bibliographies appear at the end of a written work and are usually organized alphabetically. A paper can have both a reference list and a bibliography. So these were answers of 11 more questions, and in total, including part 1, part 2, part 3, these are 31 questions which are very important and generally asked in viva of dissertation or research projects, generally in psychology, whether it is MS psychology, MSc psychology, or PhD in psychology, or MPhil in psychology. So you must understand the answers of these questions so that you can answer at the time of your viva. So see you in the next video with a new topic. Till then, bye bye, take care.